Hello everybody, welcome to Dakman Productions and welcome to this video. I decided that I was getting into or dabbling a little bit into HO, and I wanted to be careful about how I announced that. I just didn't want people saying, what? Oh no, Dakman's getting out of, typing Dakman's getting out of O-Gauge. Absolutely not. I'm sticking with Conrail and O-Gauge. What? So what? Here's what happened. Let's back up a little bit. So I've been getting into a little bit more modern trains as well as Conrail. I really like the modern day era trains with the proper striping, following the FRA rules and so forth and so on. And I really wasn't happy how the O-Gauge manufacturers were producing things because they weren't always correct. So I would complain about them here and there. And then there was comments popping up on my videos. And when you get one comment, it's like, okay. But when you get a few comments saying, hey, O-Gauge is supposed to be about fun. If you want prototypical and realistic, you should consider going into N and HO. And I had to sit down and think about that. I'm like, you know what? They're right. They're absolutely right. Because in O-Gauge, they'll never be correct. Because it's a fun scale. It's a scale you're supposed to have fun with. And I guess I was taking a little bit of that fun out trying to be correct and prototypical when that when O-Gauge is supposed to be the fun scale. So the HO layout will be modern day. I picked out CSX as my railroad. And so I'll be sticking with CSX for HO. Anything that's modern that you would see rolling up and down the rails today. The proper reflective taping, keeping within FRA regulations, so forth and so on. And so I can do my hardcore prototypical, rivet counting on my HO layout. And then when it comes to Conahey Rail O-Gauge, that'll be more fun, and I'll tone down the FRA regulations of being prototypical. And when you get into HO, you can buy trains that are a lot more detailed correctly and more prototypical. You have companies like Scale Trains that make the Rivet Counter series. You have Athearn that makes the Genesis series. So Tangent that makes wonderful correct rolling stock. So I could get a lot more realistic and correct cars in HO over O-Gauge. One of my favorite channels that I've been watching for a long time, Ravenhawk 6910, was one of the very first YouTube channels I ran into that I really liked what he was doing. As far as rail fan, he was an O-Gauger. Now he's dabbling into HO, so I've been watching what he's doing, and he's been doing some great work on his layout. Now remember, I'm not leaving O-Gauge. So, sorry to shock everybody, but yeah, I've decided to dabble into HO for my modern day model train needs. So eventually my plans will be to build an L-shaped layout. I'm starting off with a 4x8 because I'm finding out that HO is almost just as expensive as O-Gauge. I'm like, wow, this stuff is pricey. I figured, with the money I could have the whole entire empire, but when you want details and prototypical stuff and correct time period stuff, it's expensive. And some of the rolling stock just blows me away. It's right up there with some of the O-Gauge pricing. But it's so cool. When there's a train up and running in my town and I'm in the area, I'll try and take video of it. And I've been going back on my videos, as crazy as it sounds, and looking at the different cars and the videos that I shot of the cars rolling through my town. I'm like, yep, I want that one, I want this one, I want that one. And a lot of those cars are available in HO. It just blew me away how many of those freight cars I saw on video are actually available in HO. I'm like, wow, gotta have it, yep. And I know what people are thinking, so you're going to buy every train that comes through your town? No, I'm being selective because, you know, the money isn't endless. So where is this HO layout going to go? Well, unfortunately, I'm out of room down here in the basement. I do have a spare bedroom that's a decent size. It's 8 by 16, so that's where the new HO railroad's going to go. So, but we got to make room. And boy, is it a mess. So we'll take a look. Alright, so be prepared for a mess. Basically, this has been used for storage room. And so yeah, it's messy. But the plan is that I'm going to start off with a 4x8 where this bed is at. And then put a 4x8 this way. And that will make an L-shaped layout. I've already picked out a couple buildings. Walther's buildings. Got a concrete grain elevator. And a cold storage warehouse. Picked up my first scale trains locomotive in HO thanks to the help of Ravenhawk. So we'll take a look at that. And we'll get this out and running later because right now I don't even have track up and stuff like that. So I really don't want to unpack it just quite yet. But it's the CSX boxcar logo. Givo. Already has DCC and sound. There it is right there. I already started working on collecting some HO rolling stock. Got a good start, I believe. Alright, so I got all the junk in that corner moved and the bed out of there. Measured it out. That nightstand's going to have to go too. But now it's time to buy some materials and start building a platform. Alright, so I got the bench work done in the room for the 4x8. I didn't show myself building it because it's just typical bench framework that I found on the internet, just googling 4x8 HO bench work and copied one of the designs. So it's just basic. I use 2x3 instead of 2x4 to save a little cost. 2 foot centers, so every 2 foot there's a cross member underneath there. And so yeah, got it started. I went with a thicker foam board because in case I wanted to make some leaks and stuff, I just could carve it out. So I went with a thicker foam board on this that I'm sure most people would go. So yeah, getting started and moving forward from here. And we got the layout track down. And I have to say, and it's a simple loop right now. It's a 4x8. You can see I got 2 sidings here, 2 sidings here. Just a simple 4x8 to get started with. And I gotta tell you, this was pretty expensive to do. Just a 4x8. So it's Bachman nickel silver track. Ravenhawk uses it, and it looks pretty good. Yeah, you can dress it up a little bit more to make it look more realistic. So I wanted to keep this one simple. And eventually there will be a 4x8 that goes this way. I'm not showing too much because there's still trash in here. And so it'll be a 4x8 this way and then matching up to a 4x8 that way. So I'm going to build this Walther's concrete grain elevator kit. Sterling Ravenhawk actually has the same kit on his layout, and he even added the extra silos. Don't know if I'll have room for that yet. We'll see. And
I noticed it says ADM on here, but I didn't realize, for those considering the kit, that there's also other names you can pick from. So you can pick ADM, Cargill, ConAgra. Well, I actually got to see a ConAgra silo down in Georgia when I visited there. It's just plain old co-op. There's a whole bunch of other words down there. So it's a cool kit. I'm going to put it together. Now I'm not going to make you guys watch me put this thing together. So I'm just going to put it together and show it afterwards. I got this Walther's building almost done, the silo kit. And still got to decal it yet. And then I need to raise it up because the Bachmann track is a little bit too tall for the loading shed. But as you can see, I already have some hopper cars staged out. And I picked out cars that I have seen go through my town and I shot on video. So everything you're seeing has visited my town at one point or another. Now, one thing I will say about the planning, AnyRail planning, I did have to make a couple tweaks. It gets you started, but once you start putting up buildings, you might have to make a tweak, which is what I did here. So originally, I wanted this rail to go that way, and I was going to put another facility here to load. But then when I looked at it, I'm like, no, I want 2 lines going into the silo. So one will be cars that are loaded, and one will be cars that are getting loaded. And then, of course, we'll swap out on the main line with other empties. So, and the other change I made, the spurs were way too close to the curves, which I couldn't see on the AnyRail program. So once I put it together, I didn't like how close it was to the main line. So I did put a curve in, a half curve, to bring that out a little bit. Alright everybody, it's September 25th, 2022. And as you can see, I got quite a bit done. Made another modification to the track plan, and I put a 3rd line in for more cars for the silo facility. And in the meantime, you'll see that I got a Walther's refrigerated warehouse. I still need to do details, or build the details for it, the rough details and other details, but the main building is done. I stopped off at Yankee Dabbler and got this Digitrax DCS 52, suggested by Sterling Ravenhawk on Ravenhawk 6910 YouTube channel. As I asked him, I says, what is the most simplest DCS control that I can get? And he suggested this, and boy, he nailed it. This is a really simple. You got to remember, I'm an O-gauge person, so when I'm getting into HO, it's a whole different world. It really is for me. So I'll make you guys laugh. Everybody knows I'm an O-gauge person. So I put the locomotive on the track, powered up the track. There's no lights. I moved the throttle. The locomotive moves, but no sound or lights. I'm like, what's going on here? You gotta remember, in the world of O-gauge, especially with Lionel Legacy or NTH DCS, as soon as you power the track up, lights come on. As soon as the locomotive moves, or you press a button, it makes sounds, the lights turn on. And so I read the directions, and you had to do all that through CV codes, which are all brand new to me. So I had to learn CV codes and what they're about and so forth and so on. So I got that all figured out. Okay, cool. So I finally decided to move the locomotive or the train. It's not moving. And I'm giving it more power, more power, more power. I'm like, what's going on here? And then all of a sudden it starts to take off. And it starts picking up more speed and more speed and more speed. I'm like, oh, it's got momentum in it. So in the world of O-gauge, as soon as you start moving the throttle, the train starts moving. Well, I found out the brake works the same way. So when I'm backing into the siding, once I figured that out, and I go to stop, and the locomotive or the train is still moving, I'm like, stop! And I had to intervene and stop it from crashing. So then I learned, okay, HO is as close as you're going to get to being in the real world of a real train. So it's going to take time to take off, and it's going to take time to stop, just like the real thing. So, because in O-gauge, when you throttle down, it throttles down, and it stops as fast as you can throttle it down. So a lot of world of difference between HO and O-gauge. Yeah, so I had something up and running. You can see that I covered the bench work here, which is what they do at train shows when HO guys bring modules in. So I took an old bed sheet that's clean and hasn't been used and just stapled it up there. But pretty happy with the results so far. So it is October 12th, 2022. Some more updates here. So I changed this yard a little bit and actually moved the switch closer to the main line, which gave me more trackage for the siding. As you can see, I've started putting some scenery in, some ground cover, using Woodland Scenics blended turf and fine turf to make the scene. And I'll add some trees and shrubbery later, at a later date. And still need to get the ADM decals on the building at this time. Working on the refrigerated warehouse still because I ran out of glue. In the meantime, I already came up with another facility I want to deliver to, because as you see, there are two sidings. So over here, I want to put a propane facility in because there is one in my town. So over there, you'll see that I bought three 33,000 gallon propane tank cars. So they do fit in the siding. I found Winchester and Western hopper cars, which is my local short line, so I was happy to buy those. So everything's come along quite well, actually. And as you can see, I've been buying rolling stock that has the proper yellow tape on it because I am modern day. So, and that's where we're at right now. So we'll continue on, and we'll we'll be back again with some more updates. So, October 15th, 2022, trying to get some stuff done. Not much progress is going on because I got a bunch of train shows I'm going to and video shoots for clubs. But I'm trying to get this this refrigerator warehouse done. And I bought a truck, HO scale truck at the Great Scale Train Show so I can map out how big the parking lot needs to be. As I already talked, I want to put a propane facility on this side for my new 33,000 gallon propane tank cars. But as you can see, I've been messing around putting some scenery in. I did extend this out a little bit more, and it looks like I have room for a Walther's grain elevator right in here. So that would be cool if I could put a grain elevator in. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty busy section for 8x4 as far as deliveries and pickups and stuff like that. So I'm thinking that I want to concentrate on getting this done before I make the addition for this layout, which will basically go in this area, which I have yet to clean up, but it'll be some time before I get there. So let's continue the progress. Hello everybody, it is December 25th and it's Christmas Day. So at any rate, I switched from using my camcorder to my phone for updates because the phone can get closer in on details and better video footage than my camcorder can for HO. But unfortunately, I lost a couple of update videos doing that. It got mixed up and accidentally deleted, so I'm going to make sure that this one doesn't get accidentally deleted. So, for those who don't know, I came up with a name for my CSX layout. It's going to be called Conahey Southern CSX Division. So, let's take a look and see what we've done since I believe it was October was the last one that I saved. So we're 2 months into this, and we have the refrigerator warehouse done. This was inspired off of my work because I work for a trucking company that actually serves their own food. Basically a food plant. We do food processing, and they have their own trucking company that hauls their own product. You remember in that video that I talked about a propane facility, which I also built. That's the Walther's propane facility that I came up with. There's the propane tank cars to go with it. I do have a propane facility in town, which you're absolutely not allowed to video because of the Homeland Security Act. On the other side of this, I don't know if I can get this, but I really wanted the BLMA Trinity reefers, but I kept finding them on eBay for anywhere from $90 to $100 a shot. I just found that to be a ridiculous price. Well, when I went to the Greenberg train show in Timonium, there was a guy selling them for $50 each. I jumped right on that and bought two. So sometimes the train shows do come in handy. And as you can see, I got the CSX High Cube with the boxcar logo on it to go with it. So basically, for this scene, we have two reefer cars that's going to pick up frozen product and refrigerated product. The boxcar basically delivers supplies such as boxes and styrofoam and whatever else the plant needs to properly package their fruits and vegetables. And as you can see, I got a roadway installed. I decided to use the Walther's roadway. I thought it was pretty easy to install. So I'm making this as easy as possible to get as much done with the time that I have. Uh, Basically copying a lot of methods that I've done from O-Gauge. The parking lot is made from uh, black poster board available at Walmart, which is the same method I use for making parking lots on my O-Gauge layout. As previously mentioned, I'm using Bachman track because I was not going to wire in track like I did on my O-Gauge layout. I just wanted to snap something together and have a layout. I'm not, I'm not saying that the Picos track and the Atlas O track isn't good. It is. It's much better than what I'm using, I'm sure. But I just didn't want to wire a ton of wires on another layout again. And so what I've done, you can see I started trying to make it look a little bit more realistic, adding ballast to the Bachman track so it hides the fact that it is Bachman track. And my nephew is an HO, and he's been using Bachman track for like 5 or 6 years, and he's never had a problem with it. So, as you can see over here, I talked about having a grain elevator. That is a Walther's kit. So basically, we have. Oh, geez, it got away. There we go. That's better. So basically, we got a cylinder hopper being loaded with feed, and then we have a box car at the warehouse part delivering supplies like bags and sacks, so the feed and seed could be sold to the public that way. Uh, Populating the ADM grain or silo facility. As you can see, I finally got the ADM logo on there. And so, yeah, we added a couple other locomotives. So far been sticking with scale trains. There are other brands I'm looking at right now as well because there are certain locomotives I want to buy. And these scale trains locomotives are very well detailed. So you may remember for my Lionel O-Gauge, I bought the Lionel CSX or pre-ordered the Lionel CSX law enforcement locomotive. Came through with the white ditch lights instead of the red and blue as advertised. I ended up selling it because I was very unhappy. But I finally get the locomotive I really wanted because this one does have the red and blue ditch lights on it. So Scale Trains actually made the locomotive I really wanted. And it's really accurate too. And then we have the CSX First Responders 911. When Lionel did their version, they forgot a couple of graphics on it. But it was still a decent locomotive. And then we have the ET 44 AC, which I believe the only way you can get an ET 44 AC in Lionel right now is in Lion Chief. And I'm basically a legacy guy, but at least I have it in HO. So that is the December update. As you can see, I've been doing some more groundwork as far as details and getting some scenery work done. This is a little roadway that goes into the basically the propane facility, and I had raised that up to match the roadbed height, which I thought came out good. Now, this is temporary because eventually, when I put the 4x8 to make this an L-shaped layout, what's going to happen is the track's going to come straight across this way, loop around, loop inside, and back around again instead of going straight across. It's going to loop inside of itself and then eventually come back over here. I just got to figure out how that's going to be done. So I'm not going to make a roadway here quite yet. I'm going to basically leave this as is until I figure out how that's going to work out. And then the same thing over here. I did not make a crossover or a basically a road crossing here because this is temporary. This is actually going to go straight across onto the new section, and this will all be gone, and the switch will come out because the switch will no longer be here or needed, and then I'll have a curve going into this facility here instead of a switch. So there's a lot of plans that are still on the fly as far as how the addition of the 4x8 to make this an L will come out. I have it on any rail, but as I learned, any rail gets you started, but then when you physically start building your layout, you might not like this and you may not like that, and you'll have to have tweaks to it. As I mentioned, I made a couple different tweaks to the any rail of this. I mean, originally it was only supposed to be 2 spurs. Now I'm up to 3 spurs, and then a couple switches in 2 different spots. This area here, when I did the any rail program, it put the 2 sidings too far to the curve, so I ended up putting a half curve over there to get the 2 sidings away from there so I could put the facilities that I wanted in here. And the one thing I really wanted to make this as entertaining as possible, since it is a smaller layout, was the basically to get some places to deliver to. I mean, I really like delivering to places and dropping things off. So this basically does it for me. So this will be my industrial area, which I wanted to build first. When I put the 4x8 in this way to make the L, well, that's when I get into the city and towns and stuff. So, and then I'm going to have a yard in here somewhere. So I don't know. We'll figure it out as I go along. So I'm enjoying myself, enjoying the trains. I've been making different runs of the HO trains, which I have shared in this video, and have not been shared on Facebook at the point in time of this video quite yet. So I'm still keeping all that behind the scenes and secret. I do send the video runs to Ravenhawk to see what he thinks. He's done a lot of inspiration to me with his HO because he's doing a very good job with his. He's, like I said, he's an O-gauge person, and he decided to get into HO. And it's just been a great experience because it allows me to have correct prototypical modern lane trains at a more reasonable price than I could get in O-gauge. I guess that's basically the best way to put it. And hope I didn't offend anybody by saying that, but that's how I feel. And like I said, I still have my O-gauge. I'm not getting out of it. But at any rate, I made this video long enough. Well, stay tuned for the next progress update video.